The book of Proverbs. I have my notes tonight. Praise the Lord. Psalms. Okay. When God gave his law to Israel, he gave it to Israel through Moses. In that law, God wanted to protect everyone. Okay? Now, God's way of taking care of things like that, legal things, judicial things, is that the law would protect the people and the individual would protect himself. Are you with me? The law would protect the people and the individual would protect himself. What do you see on the front of the police cars written? No, that's on the back. What do you see on the front fender?
Protect and serve.
To what?
Protect and serve.
To protect and serve. Do you realize that that's anti-biblical? It's anti-scriptural. It's not the police officer's job to protect you. Okay? When you sit them down, if you were to have the sheriff here tonight, I would say, Sheriff, is it your job to protect these people? He'd say, no. It's not my job to protect them. He would say, there's no way that 5 people on the job from 8 o'clock in the evening till 6 a.m. in the morning can protect 25,000 people. Now, how many of you would say that if the police told you that they were going to protect 5 police officers, we're going to protect you along with 25,000 other people, what would you say to them? How many police officers would it take to protect 25,000 people? We can't even think about it. That's almost an unanswerable question. So when they promote their work and they keep asking for more money and more money and more money, in some areas they need it, but in a lot of areas they don't. Because they are running a joke. They're running now those officers put themselves on the line every night. No question about it. They're ready to die for you. They are. No question. But for any police department to say, we need 10 more people, we need 25 million more dollars to protect our people, you got to be careful. You got to think wisely. Another word for thinking wisely is thinking critically. In other words, critical thinking says, I'm going to read that line and I'm going to make sure it's right. I'm going to read the next line and I'm going to make sure it's right. I'm going to read the next line and make sure it's right. That's critical thinking. Now let me get back to the start. God expected the heads of the household, the father, the grandfather, the older uncle, whomever it may be at the time, to provide protection for themselves and for their loved ones. That was not to be delegated to anyone else. God wanted Israel to protect themselves. That's why the law was for the nation of Israel. Okay? And God gave it back in the time of Moses. Now, in that time, God wanted to protect the individual also. Because the individual is supposed to protect themselves. One of the ways that God wanted to protect the individual, and I wish I had it tonight. One of these days, maybe we'll get one in the time that Brother Mike and Brother Rob and Brother JP are up here and I'm gone to my long home. But just so that they can continue to teach, I'd like to see a balance. If you ever see something like that at a thrift store or whatever, and nobody else would know about it, I want to see a balance with the small, round weights. That the weights are certified for so much weight. One weight would say 1 ounce. The next weight would say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ounces. Then you'd have another round. It looked like a checker with a little handle on it, a little peg on it. And the next weight might say 15 ounces. The next weight might say 25 ounces. Then 50 and 100. Okay? Like that. God set a system up where those weights would be certified by a weight that was kept by the leader of the nation. So that if somebody said, well, I think my weights are off a little bit, they could bring their weights in and have their weights checked to make sure their weights are reading exactly right. Well, when you would go and buy, let's say, 25 ounces of the meat of a sheep, and that person would take out his balance, wrap that up, and put it on one side, and then take the 25-ounce peg, so to speak, and set it on the other side, and guess what? They should balance out exactly right. What that did was that God was protecting his people so they would not become taken, or no one would commit fraud on them. The weights and balances of a nation was very, very, very important to God. Look with me at Proverbs. I want to show you. Look with me at Proverbs chapter 11 and verse number 1. What does that say? It says, a false balance is an abomination, to the Lord. But a just weight is his delight. And when God says this, when God wrote that, he's talking about the national system of weights and balances. Okay? Everybody always philosophize on this. They scripturalize. Best word is spiritualize that. They'll say, oh yeah, this is talking about balance, but we're not really talking about balance. It's something else spiritually. No, it's talking about the national balance system. God wanted to protect his people. Okay? What would happen if I took my balance home, I took out my pocket knife, and I took the peg, and I went off one corner of it?
It wouldn't weigh the same.
What?
It wouldn't weigh the same.
It wouldn't weigh 10 ounces, would it? Because I just shaved it off. How could I use that to my benefit?
You would have... Your weight would be less, so that when they put it on there, they're thinking it's 10 ounces when actually it's less than what that weight says.
I'm only selling them 7.5 ounces. It says 10 ounces on the top, but I'm only giving them 7.5 ounces of meat from a sheep. So what am I? I'm a thief. I'm a thief. Anybody that shaved their balances, God hated them. He hated them. I mean, that's really, really strong language. Okay? God hates false balances. Look at Proverbs 16. And we're going to look at verse number 11. A just weight and balance are the Lord's. A just weight and balance are the Lord's. All the weights of the bag are his work. Okay. God's in charge of the weights and balances. He's going to hold people accountable for the weights and balances, because an unjust balance is an abomination to the Lord. Now, okay. Who's got $1? Give me a dollar. Just a $1 bill. $1 bill. Alright? I'm glad it doesn't break. Okay? It says $1 at the bottom. It says Federal Reserve Note at the top. Okay? Now, I'm going to go to Walmart and I'm going to purchase $1 worth of salted shelled peanuts, because that's a good snack. I love peanuts in the shell. I love them. I want to go and buy $1 worth of salted peanuts. Okay? How can I make this relate? So tonight, I go over to Walmart and I get a 1 gallon bag, Ziploc bag full for $1. That's a pretty good deal, right? Mm-hmm. Huh? Well, the Ziploc bags are in gallons. Okay? But I might get a pound in there. I doubt it. I might get a half. Okay? So for $1. And then tomorrow, I go and buy $1 worth of peanuts. And I don't get as much. They cut it down. Well, that happens in all economies. Buying power is regulated things. Buying power is regulated on supply and demand. It's also regulated by the value of your money. All right? Supply and demand, that happens all the time. I mean, I want to go and buy a really, really juicy vine-ripe tomato in December from the Mennonites, and somebody's got a vine-ripe tomato. What's that one tomato going to cost me?
A lot.
A lot. Right? Because the supply's not very high. There's not very many of them. So the prices go up. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. But I want to show you something tonight just on two items. I got here, some of you have seen them. I've got silver certificates. I've got a $2 bill. I've got a $1 bill, silver certificate. But I've got two $10 bills that I'm going to work with tonight. I'm going to show you one thing, and then I'm going to break off of this. But I just want to show you so that I can educate you on what is going on. This one says Federal Reserve note. If I go down to the bank and I sign a note, what have I done?
Taking a loan out.
What?
Taking a loan out.
Taking out a loan. Isn't a loan normally called a note?
Yes.
All right. This says Federal Reserve note. This is a loan. Okay? Of 10 credits. Because there are no silver dollars to back this up, and there are no silver dollars in the economy moving back and forth. When was the last time you saw anybody pay with silver dollars? Okay?
Not in my
They've taken
lifetime.
them out.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why they've taken them out of circulation. Because they want America, the treasurer of America, to sign this note so that we will owe the Federal Reserve 10 credits. They call them dollars. Okay? So the Federal Reserve prints a $10 bill and the Secretary of the Treasury signs it. So now America, the United States, now owes 10 more credits to the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is not a government agency. The Federal Reserve is a private corporation. And people don't realize that. The Federal Reserve, this money or credit company, prints these pieces of paper, sends them over to the Treasury. The treasurer signs them and puts them into circulation so that the people in America will use them. And he signed a note, and America owes the Reserve, the Federal Reserve, a private company, 10 credits. You've all heard about the national debt. Goes up and up and up and up and up and up. Do you know how they started it? By forming the Federal Reserve. and started borrowing money, reserve notes, signing them, and owing the Federal Reserve. That's part of how they started it. Now, you'd say, oh, preacher, you don't know what you're talking about. That's not really true. That's just a conspiracy theory. Well, I have this $10 bill that says Federal Reserve note. I have this $10 bill that says, help me out here,
National currency.
national currency. Okay, when you go down to the bank and you sign the note, who owns the note?
The bank.
So who owns this $10 bill?
The,
No.
the government.
Yeah, the Federal Reserve
Federal Reserve.
Bank owns this dollar. We're just borrowing it. This says national currency. Who owns this note? The American people. And it's not a note. It's not a loan. It's not credit. They changed it from a note, from national currency to a note. Right here it is. It's living proof. They changed it. When did they ask you if they could change it? Did they ask your mom and dad if they could change it? Did they ask anybody if they could change it?
No.
No, they didn't. They changed it wrongly. Okay? I'm not making this up. This is true. Undeniable proof right in front of you. They are stealing from us. They are thieves. President Kennedy was shot and killed. He said, I want to take America off the Federal Reserve System, and I want to print a national currency. And the man in the front seat of the limousine shot him and killed him. Everybody says Lee Harvey Oswald did that. But the 8mm Zapruder films now show the truth. And also, the CIA has admitted that they were involved in killing one of our presidents. Why do you think they wanted to kill John F. Kennedy? Because they didn't want to take us off the Federal Reserve. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? This was backed. We had 10 silver dollars in the bank for every one of these that went out. Because you could take this and go into any bank and present it to the teller and say, I want $10 in silver. And they had to give it to you. Where did they get it? They got it from the banking system. They got it from the U.S. Treasury. Okay? They present that $10 silver certificate to the federal banking industry, and they would get their 10 silver dollars back. One of these $10 bills I think this is the silver certificate for $10 in silver. This is the certificate for $10 in gold. In gold. In other words, for every $10 certificate that America printed, they had $10 in gold in the reserve to back it up. All right? I'm going to write you a check today. I want to buy your car. Okay? I want to write you a check for $25,000. Would you accept that check? Yes. Okay. I want to buy your car and your house. Okay? So I'm going to write you a check for $500,000. Would you accept that check? He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. Do you know why? Because he knows that he's got a poor preacher. And he knows I ain't got no $500,000 in my bank to cover my check. Now let me ask you something. You go down to Walmart tonight and you write a check for $150 and you've only got $100 in there. What are they going to do to you? They're going to burn your hide. They're going to be so much acid in your life, they will burn you and burn you and burn you. Because you don't have the money to back up your paper. They don't have the gold or the silver to back up their paper. They'll put you in jail for what they're doing every day. Do you understand the problem with this? Because God said a true balance brings him pleasure. A false balance is an abomination. God said, when you go out on the economy and you buy and sell, you better do it honestly, with a true balance. We've been operating with a false balance in America for quite a while. And people say, is America good? Do you realize that we've now surpassed the number of babies being murdered in the womb than all the wars of all the ages? No longer can anybody say, well, the Christian church caused all the wars and millions of people have died because of the Christian church, because of the cross, because of people who say they follow Jesus. They're murderers. Guess what, folks? They can't argue that anymore. Because the God of this world, whom they follow, and who instituted the false balance in America, and we live by it because we don't have any choice. Nixon made owning gold a felony. Did you know that? And he's a Republican. I'm telling you, there ain't a nickel's worth of difference in any of them. There's not. And America, somebody says, oh, God's going to save America. America ain't worth saving. She's an abomination to God herself. Do I pray for her? Yes. Would I like for God to save America? Yes. But I just don't think it's going to happen. I want you to know that what I taught you tonight comes straight from the Word of God. And I also want you to know that you won't get any kind of everyday, day-to-day, common sense training like this in any church in Macon County, and very, very, very few in the whole state of Tennessee. And God's put you in a church that will help you like that. Will educate you. You won't be just the common, pay my money, I'm happy. No, you're educated. God's bringing knowledge to you. And it's important that you're here to learn it. And it's important that we teach it. So I'm thankful tonight that you listen. So let's take our